G'day folks, welcome back to another episode of Euro Mining News. Today we're talking Kuniko Limited, an ASX listed explorer operating in Norway. And they've brought out a updated, an initial mineral resource estimate for its nickel, copper, cobalt operation in Norway. Everything's sitting in the inferred category. However, it's got some interesting stuff in it. So we'll jump straight into it here. 23 million tonne mineral resource estimate for the Ertelien unveils nickel and copper potential. It's sitting at 0.31% nickel equivalent. So that's a mixture of the nickel, copper and cobalt. So 0.21% nickel, 0.16% copper, 0.014% cobalt. Now the way this works is a little different. It basically sets a price, estimated price for nickel, an estimated price for copper, and an estimated price for cobalt, and depending on the percentages. So here we can see it's got a 55% nickel composition, 41% copper, and 4% cobalt. So it takes an estimated price of the three of those and mixes them together. Here it said basically most of it's 250 metres from surface. They're planning on doing a bunch more drilling in April, and that they've got two lenses, a disseminated and nickel sulfide lens. Now they're sitting in a pretty good spot, just 40 kilometres northwest of Oslo, where a whole bunch of other mining has been done previously. It's at low relief, 100 to 210 metres. And it hosts a bunch of old mine sites, so the area is used to mining. Now, most of this diamond drilling was done by another company back in 2006 to 2008, and they basically dropped it once the nickel prices plunged after the GFC, and Kuniko's pegged it in 2021 and has been doing some work, mostly relogging old holes, but also pumped 5 holes themselves. Here, they basically said there's those 5 holes, 1,300 metres. Done a whole bunch of work validating the drill core, and they've created a new model, basically. So I wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of this straight off the bat. So here, nickel equivalent grade was determined on the basis of assumed commodity prices. So these assumed commodity prices are 22,000 for nickel, 9,000 per tonne for copper, and 40,000 per tonne for cobalt. Now these are pretty high, considering that the price of nickel at the moment is sitting at around 20,000 tonne, and copper's at 8,800. So it's pretty generous, basing it off of that. But basically, they all get pushed back into the nickel equivalent to create a percentage figure, so that you can round it all off into one commodity rather than splitting it across the three, and it would be very hard to basically measure. So they've got some cross sections here where they've got this high grade footwall, got a low grade rim and a high grade inner section here. They're basically planning open pit mining, and because they haven't done any metallurgy work yet, they've set a 75% recovery rate based off that. Other than that, the only other bits that really stuck out to me was that no external verification was done on it. They have none of it in reserve. However, they did have GeoVista come in and do a review of their QA/QC. The area is 100% owned by them, and there's no liability, so that's good for them. Here again is that 22,000, 9,000, 40,000, bit generous, so that will pump up their grade higher than what's expected. And another strange thing was that they're generally, when you do a resource estimate, you cut things off if they're very high. So if it's 8% nickel, it's too much. It's probably an outlier, and you cut it off. They haven't done an upward cutoff for their, it's called a top cut for their nickel. So that was also a bit strange. But that's all out of Kuniko today. So cheers for tuning in, and see you again next time.